Okay, okay. Now you are in. Okay, okay. Okay, so I think that was the reason.
Oh, so looks like this. I will make him a presenter. And can you unmute and check, Sandeep?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. Can you share?
Just a second.
Stop sharing.
I can share as well. Can see, right?
Yes.
Good.
I think we are good then.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll just keep it mute.
Yes.
Maybe Gayatri, you can put up your slide so that whoever joins, you can see that. Yeah, full screen. You can put this. Let people join, and then we'll start at 11.
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. Let's give it a minute or two for folks to join in. Okay, it's a minute past 11. Let's get started. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our webinar on AI-led transformation. I'm Gayatri Sahasrabuddhe, and I'll be your host for this webinar. Artificial intelligence, it's no longer a buzzword. It's reshaping how businesses operate, compete, and grow. Yet, while many organizations run pilots, very few are able to scale AI and realize its full potential. In this session, we'll explore what it takes to drive AI-led transformation, linking strategy to impact, building strong data foundations, and enabling people and culture change. We are delighted to have with us today Mr. Sandeep Srivastava, Global Delivery Head for Analytics and AI at eClerx. With over 24 years of experience, Sandeep leads eClerx global analytics practice, driving growth and delivery in data engineering, data science, and AI/ML across industries such as technology, retail, banking, and travel. An industry recognized leader, Sandeep has been named amongst AIM's top 15 data delivery heads, with his client successes celebrated through Stevie Awards and his teams recognized in the top 50 firms for data scientists by ISG and NASSCOM. Beyond delivery, Sandeep is a thought leader in ROI-driven AI/ML solutions and is a frequent speaker at leading forums, sharing insights on advancing analytics excellence at scale. He holds an MBA from the Indian School of Business, Hyderabad, and a BTech from the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. Please join me in welcoming Sandeep to the webinar.
Thanks, Gayatri, for the introduction, and thanks for having me on this webinar. Excited to be here to talk about AI.
Likewise. Okay. So without further delay, let's get started. So let's start from the basics, Sandeep. How do you define AI-led transformation in business terms? And what's pushing organizations to adopt AI now?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question, Gayatri, that you asked. And what I am seeing in my experience also over the last 24, 25 years, it's a kind of disruption. And maybe I go a few years back, while the AI as a concept was coined sometime in mid 1950s, right? But since then, there have been a lot of developments which have happened. And particularly in the last 25 to 30 years, we have seen a lot of transformation or changes happening in the IT or the tech space. If I talk about, say, mid 90s, when this whole web or the internet was launched, that was the big thing. And then came the early 2000 when this whole .com boom happened. A lot of businesses were formed. The websites came up, some successful, some not so successful. But the things transformed, right? The whole ITES industry got formulated then. And then we moved into more data space, because with this whole IT industrialization, the data was getting generated, and that's when the data analytics started, right? Sometime in mid 2000, I would say, and that was a time when I also started my journey in the data analytics space. It was data analytics at that point of time. And from there on, I would say one after the other, the kind of waves in the technology space came in. Some of you may recollect it was the social media, the advent of social media, and how firms were excited about it. Then came the trend of big data, right? When the data exploded and it became more not just structured but unstructured data. When I say unstructured data, as we all know, it is all about images, text, videos. It was more text at that point of time, but obviously that was the beginning, right? And then to analyze that data, the analytics also evolved, right? And then it became data science with the advent of machine learning and deep learning concepts. The idea was, how do you mine that data that is getting generated? Uh, and that's where these new developments algorithms came into more existence, I would say, more forefront, I would say, rather than existence, because they have been there. It's just that there was no application or much usage of that. The compute power also increased because to run algorithms on such a large data, you need compute to support these processing. And that has been the case till 2020. But what has changed since then, if you look at it, all these technologies were still very tech-oriented, very specialized skills, and giving power to more IT side, technology side. Obviously, the benefits were reaped in by the businesses also, but mostly controlled by the tech, I would say. But what has happened in the last 4 or 5 years with the advent in the generative AI space, or Gen AI as we call it, the things have changed several folds, I would say. And that's how I call it an unprecedented change that is happening across board. All the waves that we have seen in the past were not what you call influencing the territory around us as this thing has caused. And my understanding or interpretation is why this is happening, why such a large scale commotion or adoption is happening, because this whole technology has given power in the hands of businesses, the business users. It's not just limited to people who know technology, right? It's not only about people who can write code, program. It is about the people who are the consumers, the businesses who are the consumers, whether the marketing team, whether the supply chain teams, whether the sales team, they all can reap the power, right? And it has made things so much so that you don't necessarily need to know programming for that matter. A lot of packages, products, low code, no code things which have come up, which are allowing users to build things on their own. So what is happening now is what business is saying now, if the tech or IT is not able to make the changes for them, they want to take the things or rein in their hands, right? So that's how the speed is there. If the tech is not doing it, the business wants to move forward and do it, and that's how there is this whole so-called race or so-called agility or speed as we are seeing in the market. Early days, as far as the adoption is concerned or the successful adoption is concerned, but I think all the building blocks are falling in place. It's a matter of time when we start seeing more and more successful programs rolling out. I would say the industry is still in an experimentation phase. It's a new tech. Everybody is trying to learn, see how it works, pitfalls, and a lot of things. I'm sure we will talk as we go forward. But yeah, I think that's how the organizations are keen to adopt this thing. And definitely technology is quite promising. It's allowing a lot of advancements, efficiency, automation, speed. Like some of the use cases that we are seeing in the market. What used to take for a data analyst on my team to do some crunching of numbers, data, just to do that crunching, it used to take 2 days, writing the programs, the queries, and their skills. But now with adoption of some of those packages or modules of AI, Gen AI or low code, no code, the teams are able to do it in a couple of hours. So that's the kind of efficiency we are talking about. The time is cut down by almost 1/4 to 1/5, right? That's where we are sitting. And what we are seeing that it may come down even further drastically, that some of the more mundane tasks may not be there. But we'll talk more. But yeah, that's how I see that option is happening and why there is such a rush, because uh, the technology has kind of imbibed what all being experimented over the last 20-25 years, and now it has come to a mature stage where the businesses can use it themselves rather than depending upon more tech discussers.
Yeah. So that was a good stage setting, giving a big picture to our audience. A note for our audience: the first half, we'll do a Q&A with Sandeep. Sandeep will share his thoughts, and then we'll open it up for audience questions. So those of you who have questions can type in your questions in the Q&A box, and we'll take it up in the second half. Okay. So that brings me to my second question, right? There is a push for organizations to adopt AI now. And organizations do try out pilots, different use cases. So, what do you think are the challenges that leaders face in scaling AI beyond pilots? And how can companies align AI with their business goals?
Yeah, sure. I think that's a very current topic as well, as in how to be successful with the AI initiatives. And I can very well relate to what you're saying, Gayatri. A recent McKinsey study said that 90% of the projects in the AI space have not delivered any value. And their study is more global across large organizations. It's not only about the smaller enterprises and businesses. This is the case of the scenario with major big organizations globally. And what is happening is, Gayatri, there are a couple of things which are happening if you look at it. There is a technology which is new. The trust and the confidence of the users is yet to be formed on that technology. There are certain gaps which are also there in terms of the concerns that people talk about around. I use some terms like model hallucination or the fairness in the model, which is basically certain errors cropping up in the model, because we are now talking about reaching a stage where things are fully automated. So far, the things have been done semi-autonomous or part autonomous, but now we are talking about the 100% autonomy, right? So obviously that has its own challenges. So we have to be a little careful on how we adopt it. The other thing is most of these initiatives require heavy investment. It's a technology, it's an infra, and it's a people. And everything has to come together, right? And it's not a cheap technology as of now, because it's a new thing. It is to getting formed. So one has to also evaluate the cost and the benefit, right? If we adopt certain technology or certain use cases for AI, what kind of business outcome are we going to see, and in what time frame? That has been the important learning even for us also. Many times we did something because it appeared fancy, it appeared cool to do those things, but when it comes to realizing the value, we didn't really see an ROI, right? So, and no organization will fund an initiative or put it into production if there is no ROI. So these are some of the factors which I would say one has to think about when taking steps towards AI adoption. And if you allow me, I can probably present some more thoughts using one or two slides that I've got
Sure, go
on
ahead.
what, as an organization, we can do or what we are doing. Probably it may have some learnings for your audience as well to take some cue. Just allow me a moment. And let me know if my screen is visible.
It is, yeah.
Okay. So what I wanted to talk about and share with the audience is how do we ensure that our AI transformation or journey is successful, right? As in how our pilots are converted into a more production scale, production ready projects, and how do we reap the benefits? I'll talk about the building blocks, what all we need to plan for or think of when we are starting the journey. And then obviously AI journey is a maturity. It's not that something happens overnight. So one has to take one steps at a time, a kind of crawl, walk, run. So I'll come to that also. But before that, I just want to touch upon some key core tenets of setting up the right teams for, or the right practice or the culture for AI transformation. If you look at it at the core of it, as in these are 6 principles that we have thought of, or we put together, or we have seen what is happening in the industry and what is need to be taken care of. The people, technology, data, research, scale, and road to best in class. Now, this is a framework, but in my view, it covers majority of the aspects of any successful AI setup for any client or for any organization. So what is people? As I was talking about, that's at the core. We need to get the right talent in, create that team which can create this magic, right? And in our experience and learning so far, it is not only about technical skills anymore. It is as much about technical as it's about the business skills. I think that's another challenge which we have seen many times. We organizations have the people, the skill set, whether it is about having a data scientist or having an engineer or machine learning experts, developers, but they don't know what to create or what to do, right? And that's where the importance of domain experts and the consultants come in, right? The people who have been in the industry, who have seen things working, whether it is a marketing problem of how to run campaigns to reach out to more and more audience, or if it is about a supply chain of how to fulfill an order, what all does it take in this whole order fulfillment process. Once one understands the in and out of that space, one can think of how to leverage AI, right? Which is what we are seeing that's a gap at the moment, because one has to identify the right initiatives, right? And that will come with the blend of domain expertise, expertise, consultancy, and obviously the technical skills are required. You need a combination of both to do that. And it's a fast changing field. You need to ensure that the teams are upskilled, trained, and there is a continuous learning happening, right, all the time. Organizations have created academies, universities to do that. They launch for certifications. They allow their talent to be present in the industry, create some communities, join those forums, because it's as much about learning. What we are seeing, what we are doing 6 months back, 8 months back, those things are kind of now getting part of the large rollouts that the big tech is doing. When I say big tech, is the companies like OpenAI or Google, Microsoft, Meta, right? So that tech will keep happening, that innovation will keep happening, right? For the larger organization or the broader set of organization, we need to think about how do we use that tech in solving our business problems, right? And that will happen when we are constantly learning what's the capability, what all these models can do, what AI can do, what are the new features, and then marry it with the problem on hand, right? I would say, the most important part, I would say, in the journey. Technology, needless to say, a lot of things are there. Sometimes it can be confusing, even for us also, for me also. You have to keep pace on what is coming new. What is it that it is offering? The technology can be in the space of data, how to manage the data, depending upon the variety, the complexity, the scale, you have to choose the right tech. Then for processing, analytics, data science, there is a separate tech. For consumption, for reports, dashboard, there is separate tech. And then obviously function-specific technologies. For marketing, there are marketing automation platforms, content management platform. For sales, there are CRM platforms like Salesforce and all, and so on and so forth, right? So one has to have a understanding or awareness or familiarity with these tools and the right set of technology to support their use cases. Then the next biggest or the next most important part, I would say, is the data side of it. And because this whole revolution is driven by data. At the core of the whole science, the AI is the data. If the data is not there, nothing moves. It's like the fuel in the earlier word or years, right? Without fuel, you can't do anything. That's how they call data as a new fuel. If there is no data, no model, no technology that works here. And in our experience, what we have seen across large organizations, Fortune 500 organizations, some of the biggest names in the banking, in the retail, in telecom space, you name any industry, any top player, the one common theme that we have seen is there a struggle with the data. Most of the place or time, their data is so distributed across systems, some legacy technology, some new technology, same type of data being collected or stored at two places. Nobody knows which is the right data to use, right? And when you want to use it and you want to take certain decision, and if you have to go to 5 different systems to pull the data out, it's a no-starter, right? In a fast-moving world, the CEOs or CXOs are looking for information as of yesterday, right? They can't really wait for a week to make decision or to wait for the data. So that becomes the foundational part on how do you bring and streamline all your data at one place. And that is what I would say probably 40 to 50% of our projects currently are focused around getting the data streamlined, pulling the data from different systems, hosting it at one place. It is called data lake or data lake house in the new word, or more new technologies coming in to organize the data, such as CDPs, data platforms. But everybody is trying to address the data availability question. And with the data, we have to be careful on a lot of other things. We all are concerned about our privacy. So it is our data. So the organizations handling our data have to be very particular about how do they manage the data security, data privacy, our preferences, create certain governance standards, right? Because if these things are not taken in place, no matter how great a pilot is done, we will not be able to roll it out. We will not be able to put it in production. We will not be able to use it. So that's the foundational part. We need anybody who is starting the journey has to be thinking about managing the data well and governing the data well. And there are severe financial and regulatory implications as well if we don't follow these. So something that has to be very careful. I'll keep moving in the rest of time. The next bit that we have seen is the research and experimentation. It's the culture to test and learn, right? Or what we call as a fail fast. Many times it's organizations are caught in analysis paralysis in terms of should we do this, should we not do this, how to do this, and they keep working on one idea and take longer and longer, right? The research and experimentation talks about you have your inventory of ideas, you create those use cases which you identify with the combination of your people, domain, technical expertise, and data. Build that whole inventory of use cases, right? There are frameworks to analyze those use cases or prioritize those use cases. One can use a combination of the speed, the outcome, the cost, so on and so forth, right? So there are several such frameworks that exist. But the idea is take a use case, create a shorter version of it, which we call as a prototype or a MVP or minimum viable product and test it out. Experimentation is key. Testing on a small scale, limited data, see whether it's making sense, it's giving the intended outcome or benefit or not on a very small scale. Nowadays, these experimentations are being done in as short a time as probably a couple of weeks. Nothing is going into months, I would say, right? So the organizations are testing these ideas in 3 weeks, 4 weeks, 5 weeks max, right? And then you can take a call, right? Create a business case out of it. Business case is very important in order to take your ideas to the leadership and show that it is workable, doable. One has to have the skills of creating the business case, and I'll talk more about that in a bit. And then obviously, once you have done these things, you have figured out your successful ideas or the pilot ideas, you have the right people, technology, etc. Now think about taking it and scaling it up, right? How do we put it into production? How do we automate it? How do we make it what we call as a self-serve, right? The success of any initiative is when they are in the hands of your people, right? If it is with only limited set of people who have developed it, who have built it, believe me, it's not going to succeed, right? The success only happens when these ideas or these solutions are used by the larger audience, the business users, the stakeholders in their day-to-day operations. That's when the success happens. So we have to ensure how we have to work upon the adoption. How do we make people understand? We have to make them aware, right? And that's where the change management, the communication, and all that comes to play. And finally, you scale it in terms of best in class, and that will happen when your initiatives are getting measured. ROI is very prominent KPI, I would say. How much you are making a return on your investment. Evangelizing your solutions, success stories, you talk about it, make people understand, because it is still a new space, right? A lot of folks in the organization or the network may not know. And that also feeds into your inventory, the use case inventory, because the more you network, the more you talk, the more success stories you learn from your peers or the industries, you tend to think more and adopt more. So yeah, these are the core tenets, I would say, Gayatri, that we are working with for our clients. And if we have few minutes, I can just quickly touch upon the maturity aspect as well, right? As in how organizations can move towards setting up a matured AI journey. Very quickly, not take a lot of time, and I'll let audience also ask their questions, but we have defined kind of 4 stages of maturity. The first one being the foundation, as I was talking about. Organizations need to do the homework, be ready on their people, data, technology, readiness, create the roadmap, think about use cases, etc. Think about measurement. What you're going to create or do is important, but how you're going to measure is even more important. Because in absence of the measurement, you cannot demonstrate success, and then the ideas would fall flat. Data security governance and talked about. I also wanted to touch upon some of the questions that we get, not from our clients, but more in the industry or the people I interact with. They talk about the skills that they need to have, right, to start their journey. I can't emphasize more that obviously the technical skills are important, but equally important are the domain or the functional skills, right? Somebody who is at the cusp of understanding technology and domain of business is, I would say, far better position in the journey than somebody who is knowing only technical or only business. It's the cusp that we have to achieve, right? And when I say technology understanding, at the early stage of career, obviously, the people who are working on the models, building the data pipelines, etc., they have to be very technical, hands-on. But as your years of experience grows, I think your business skills are a lot more important, right? And you have to marry those with your AI skills. So awareness, understanding, interpretation of AI, the models, what it means for us, what is right, what is not right, what should be leveraged. That is a lot more important than actually writing or doing a program or writing or APIs or the codes or using LLMs in day-to-day work, right? That's what I would say, that we should be thinking about acquiring these skills as well. And the second most is critical thinking and problem solving. Many times these are like tools, right, that we have, but what to do with those tools, people don't know. So that comes through the problem solving mindset, the critical thinking, looking at the process, what is happening in the organization, right? Marketing, sales, whatsoever. And what can be automated or enhanced or done better with the use of AI, right? Taking a very simple example, personalization is as a concept we all have been hearing for a long time, which talks about for each individual user, you show what is relevant to that person, and that is personalization, right? Instead of showing everything to a person, you show what is the most relevant thing, because that's when the chances of one buying or consuming that is the highest. Now, in this whole personalization thing, how do you go about doing it? It's a very conceptually it's good, but people who understand that whole marketing arena, who understand the various touch points, right, and who know what channels to be used, whether to email or whether to social media or to anything else, and what those touch points are. They are the ones who are able to come up with the ideas of, okay, this is where we can probably use data more or the AI models more, right, to give better offers or show better content and things like that. So that's how the understanding of the domain and application of AI models becomes very important, and those skills are. Ideation, going to the second stage, very important. Once you have the ideas, test it out, create a business case, uh, and then go and present it, right? If the ideas are successful. Again, what is needed for individuals? The awareness, industry awareness, the latest trends, and the use cases. Have each industry is offering a lot of variety, right? Whether it is retail, whether it is technology, whether it is software platform, hospitality, they all have different problems, but at the core, one can leverage a lot of common ideas and test it out in their environment. And business case preparation, stakeholder communication becomes very important. In absence of a business case, ROI model, very less chances that any idea would see blessings of your senior management. So one has to work upon that. The scaling, talking about putting the whole thing into production, scaling it up, uh, ensuring that the things are being done right. What will make it successful? What as an individual need to know and do, that they have to have more partnership skills, right? More collaborative skills. The more they can collaborate with IT, data, marketing, sales, business functions, the more successful the initiatives would be. And definitely the tech awareness is important, because what tech can do, how much it can scale, not scale is important. And so is the thought leadership in these areas. So again, industry expertise, acumen, domain, AI savviness or readiness is the key. And lastly, uh, the ultimate state, I think we all are supposed to get there in the due course. But that's the transformation, right? Where the business growth is happening through AI solutions, and each solution is delivering ROI, uh, as much automation, as much efficiency, as much value exists in the system as possible. Uh, for that, obviously, the continuous tracking, demonstration of ROI is important. Uh, Very advanced use cases are being solved. And what you need is a strategic thinking, leadership, and communication to get to that business negotiation as well. But yeah, I just wanted to share my thoughts and how we are looking at some of these, talking to the clients, industries across sectors. This is what the gist is. I hope that gives some sense
Yeah,
or some idea to the audience today.
that
Gayatri.
was a pretty comprehensive presentation on the core tenets and how do you or advancing AI maturity. You touched upon the people. I mean, it is not just about the organizations here, right? Who are, when you want to do AI driven transformation, it is not just the organizations doing it. It's ultimately the people. And of course, there are fears around AI replacing jobs. You touched upon it a bit. I mean, the continuous learning, developing the data mindset, and not just be tech oriented. It's that balance between, I mean, you need to be tech aware, but just that is not enough. Have an understanding of the domain or the business as well. So those are some of the things I could get from what you explained previously. Is there anything else you would like to add on this, the fears or handling the fears around AI replacing jobs?
Yeah. Yeah, I also hear that a lot from people talking about and the way it is projected, it is talked, or it is seen in the media or the news. It appears like AI is automating everything, and we don't need humans anymore. We only need agents or robots or bots, right, to do the things. But that's not true for two reasons. One, uh, if at all things are getting automated, it's only adding to the efficiency. And with that liberated time and bandwidth, people are expected to do more or solve bigger and complex problems, right? One may not have the visibility to those newer, bigger problems today, but we have seen these trends and waves. We can take any example from the past also. When a new technology comes in, we all are a bit cautious of, oh, it will take away this and that, whether that's the industrial revolution or whatsoever. But the the innovation keeps happening and new things keep coming. We have to push the frontier, right, in terms of doing things differently, more. I think so. That's one. The second is AI is important, right? So I don't think we can ignore it. If we are ignoring it, definitely it's not good sign. So we have to embrace it, and those who are embracing it would be a lot more successful than those who are not embracing it. So if the fear is I would say embrace it. It is going to help you to do the things better. The fear may turn true if you don't embrace it. But if it is going to replace, I don't think so. There may be certain functions or certain tasks which may not need one to put in manual efforts, but then there would be lot many more new things would be there, problems to solve where your creativity, your problem solving will be leveraged.
Okay. Thank you, Sandeep. Um, uh, for the audience, you can start putting in your questions in the Q&A box if you have any. I'll be checking those and have Sandeep answer those questions. Till then, we'll continue this conversation, but I'll be on the lookout for the audience questions. So, I mean, coming to your experience over the last 2 decades, um, can you share a success story where AI created a measurable business impact, and which areas are typically quick wins?
Yeah, sure. In fact, I will talk about a case which happened actually a couple of years back before the generative AI or the Gen AI wave happened. Uh, and this is very close because it was kind of a pioneering solution at that point of time. I'm talking about year 2017-18. It's still not that far back. Involving or leveraging a lot of advancement in the machine learning and deep learning space. And it was for one of our largest client, which is in a high-tech space, selling laptop, desktop, servers, etc. And they have been the pioneer in terms of innovation. I can't take the name because of the confidentiality reasons, but you'll get an idea. So they are probably the first one to start selling direct to consumers right back in 90s. They wanted to transform their contact centers experience. right? Because you are selling the laptops, desktops, memories, servers, or whatsoever, and you're getting a lot of calls to your call centers. We all call the contact centers for issues, troubles, right? And they were facing a lot of challenges of the high cost, I would say, less challenges, more in terms of the high cost of the customers coming back, talking about certain issues. Sometimes the issues are non-issues, but the customers just don't understand. And sometimes there were genuine issues, but probably the way problem is resolved on the call was not optimal because those agents, the contact center agents, are also not really the expert all the time, right? And they also have the pressure of doing the things in a fast way, resolving the queries within certain minutes, otherwise their performance is impacted. So they also take shortcuts at times, right? To please the customers, they may offer the solution which is non-optimal. And that's the problem this firm was facing. And they had a global operation. So it's probably the number two in that industry. How we transformed that solution was at that point of time was a combination of all the data modeling, machine learning, and deep learning, and what we used to call that as a natural language processing. I'll give a simile of what the solution was, and maybe that will help you all understand a bit easily. Think about a Google map. If you are going from place A to place B, the map is or navigator is helping you to take the right turns, and depending upon the traffic at the next street, it is optimizing in the real time and telling you to take an alternate path so that you can get to your destination faster, right? In a similar way, when an agent is solving a problem of a customer on the call, the customer is talking about the issues that one is facing, right? And customer can talk about anything. The agent has to respond to that issue, and basis that customer will again respond something, and basis the customer's respond, agent will again take a step to solve the problem. Now, this reasoning agents used to do very rule based. Okay, if this is written in the book prescription, they will just follow that path. But with these models, we kind of optimize the interaction just the way the Google Maps work, right? In the real time, if the customer said this is the problem, our models will look at 5 different options to explore and what's the most optimal solution. So instead of dispatching a part, can we offer some other advice to the customers, or can we ask another important question which can lead to resolution faster? So that's how this whole solution was built to improve the efficiency of the contact center agents. And we actually deployed this solution, and the technology was being used. And now when I'm looking at it, the solution 5 years later, 7 years later, a lot of advancement has happened in the Gen AI space. A lot of LLMs have come in, which are doing that job even at a much higher accuracy and scale than what the natural language processing used to do at that point of time. So the solution has got only better and enhanced. But yeah, that was the first true blue AI solution, if I may call so. We delivered some 7-8 years back, which was quite a pioneer at that point of time.
Interesting. Mr. Jagjit Singh, I see you have a question. You have raised your hand. Please type in your question in the Q&A box, and we will take it from there. Okay, there is a question. What are the key points to keep in mind to effectively and correctly use large amount of data?
Okay. I would say the key point is, one, the data is always going to be large now. Gone are the days when we will get only limited data. The way organizations are dealing is to ensure that all the data is at one place, because when you need to use them, you need them at one place for easy accessibility rather than going to different systems. So that's how the concept of data lake or data lake house that I was talking about is important. Having the proper cataloging of the data, right? What data is usable, not usable, where to go, not to go. The labeling, cataloging structure is very important. It's not just dumping the data at one place and hoping that someday we will use it. It's a step beyond that. It's also keeping half ready in terms of the meta structure and the metadata, which also allows the large language models to go through the data and ingest in them so that you can use it for any type of analysis modeling per se. So I would just say having the data at one place, having some sort of meta structure, cataloging done rightly on the data, that's good for a lot of organizations. And even for some of the more mature organizations who are already building, developing, delivering advanced models, etc., they can go a step further and what we call as a more analytics ready data set or the customer data platform, where the information is a lot more aggregated, a lot more features are already created, and keeping it ready for faster experimentation and all. So 3 stages of the data. In a more technical language, the way we talk to client, we call it as a bronze, silver, and gold layers of the data, the Mendelian architecture. But in a simplistic term, this is how I think anybody should be thinking about keeping the data ready, depending upon their needs and maturity.
Yeah, I mean, typically a data scientist work, I mean, this they say, right, 70 to 80% is trying to figure out what data to use, where to find it, and getting it in a format which is ready to be analyzed, right? So this
Yeah.
cataloging and metadata plays a very important role in that aspect. Okay. So we talked about AI adoption, what it takes to scale, the maturity roadmap for an organization. Uh, Somewhere now, companies or organizations are realizing uh, the need for responsible AI as well, right? So, how do you really ensure responsible and explainable AI adoption?
Yeah.
And what frameworks help with that, right? The governance frameworks.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the current discussion happening across board, Gayatri. How to make these technology models more responsible, accountable, fair, right, and explainable. I maybe quickly decode all these terms for the audience so that it's easy. Uh, Explainability, if I start with, it's all about talking what model is doing should not be a black box, right? One should know how that recommendation or decision is coming. In absence of that, uh, you don't know what it would do, what it would not do, and it would lead to even more challenges and concerns, right? So your accountability and fairness will go for a toss if we can't explain. So that becomes the foundation, in my view. Uh, Very important, and especially for certain industries like banking, healthcare, where the transparency is very important. You can't just put a solution which is black box. So you have to ensure that the teams working on it, they understand uh, the kind of data being used. There is no bias in the data. The features that are being created, they pass the test of fairness, Gayatri. That's all is important to make the model explainable. One example I was reading, and I'm sure some of you may have heard it, in an autonomous car, right? Uh, if at all it runs into a crash, should it prioritize the security and safety of the passenger sitting in the car versus the pedestrian walking on the road, right? Where would you put more emphasis, or how, as an autonomous car designer, what you should be doing? That's an ethical question to ask, right? And if those who are building the technology or leveraging it don't take care of these aspects, they're going to run into the ethical problems or the regulatory problems. So it's about understanding what is happening. It's no rocket science. We all know what is ethical, what is not. Have to have a framework. Look at each problem from that lens, whether it is ethically, morally correct or not. If it is not, then how do you address that? By bringing in the right data, because many times it's like garbage in, garbage out, or what is in, what is out, right? We have to ensure that the data representation which is coming in is equally representative. If you only take one type of data, you only get one type of output. But if you have the mixed variety across race, across gender, across function, across as much variety as can, the output would also be a lot more balanced, right? Those are the things we can say. There are frameworks, there are a lot of government frameworks as well which exist, and there are certain proprietary frameworks which exist. But these are all the various concepts that one has to think about. Data privacy, I did not touch upon, but that's very crucial as well. One cannot use the data without customers' consent, right? There are strict laws and regulations, whether in GDPR in Europe or CCPA in the US, which have heavy penalty if the customer data is being used without the consent, right? It's a discrimination to do customer profiling, that only these type of customers buy my product, so I will only sell to these customers and I will ignore the rest of the customers. One cannot do that. So one has to be very careful of all these aspects, and I think that's how we can make more inclusive solutions using AI for the betterment of society rather than just the business gains, I would say.
Yeah, so the key is being aware. I mean, everybody has a moral compass.
Yeah,
It can be slightly different for different people, so it's all the more important to have these guardrails in the
yeah,
form of regulations to align to. Um,
yeah,
and yeah, very soon for the data privacy, right? We also have the DPDP Act, and I think
yeah.
the detailed rules and regulations will follow. Yeah.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Things are being worked upon. As we say, learnings are there and more designs are happening. But yeah, the more cautious and aware we are, the better it is for everybody.
Okay. Um, so as organizations are looking to start off, right? You talked about experimentation, starting small, doing an MVP, measuring ROI, and then scaling, right? So in this, as they are doing this, should companies build AI expertise or build AI solutions in-house or use partners?
Yeah, my short answer would be to use partners, unless you are into a services space and you want to do and serve your clients. If you are a consumer space, I would just say having a partner is the right thing. Even in the services space, there are a lot of partnerships happening, because as we can see right at the big tech level to even the provider level, things are moving very fast. For one to invest and commit huge capex and keep the pace with the changes is not going to be that easy. So my recommendation or thought process is to go for the partnership as much as we can. There is always a question of build versus buy. Better to buy as a small, try it out rather than building on your own, because till the time the things stabilize, it's not really prudent to build something unless you have everything in place. So uh, I would say in the initial shorter run, better to have the partners, better to have the more buy hat on. And later on, in the mid to long term, one can think of bringing it in house, doing oneself, and things like that. I draw an analogy from my analytics days when we started off back in 2005. I remember going to banks talking about using a credit model to decide what whom to give loan and whom not to give a loan. And that point of time, it was a new space. Nobody knew, and many times we face the challenge of businesses telling us we know more about our customers than what you can tell us. So that was the space, but nobody was doing it internally. Whosoever was little more informed, they all were trying, testing it out, engaging the experts, providers to build it out. Cut to 2025, you can see the whole wave happening around GCCs. Everybody is opening a center, captive. So many
Mhm.
banks local banks, foreign banks, they all have their own analytics and data science division. They have title called chief of data whatsoever, right? I don't see a single organization which is not doing analytics on their own. So it's a matter of journey. It's a time. Initially, you depend on the partners, leverage more, but over a period of time, you become independent.
Okay. I think we have time for one final question. So forward looking, right? What AI trends, Gen AI agents or Edge AI, uh, what do you think will most disrupt businesses in the next 3 to 5 years?
Yeah, I think all of these are going to disrupt as of now what appears to be. Agentic AI is a big thing. Uh, I would say imagination is the limit, the way things are happening. Each and every task, the agents are being created. Sometimes in my mind, my head, I look at it the way the revolution happened in the mobile space, right? With apps coming in. For each and everything, there is an app. And now we all are so dependent on apps, right? For our day-to-day things, each and everything. I think the way things are moving, probably these apps can be replaced by, or they may become like an agentic apps. So they are not just giving you the information, they are also taking actions on your behalf while you are away or doing something else, right? It may sound very fancy at this point of time, but that is what appears to be the direction where for each and everything, they're going to be an agent working alongside 24/7, never getting tired and doing the things for you while you are still being in control. So that's what I think. Agentic definitely has legs, the way it is evolving, transforming, and use cases are being explored. Uh, Edge AI is also equally cool. The example I talked about, the autonomous car, self-driven cars, is nothing but Edge AI. They're allowing you to take as in allowing those computers or the cars to take the right decision there itself. That is also the future. Both are going to happen. Agentic more for the consumers. I think both are for the consumers, so I can't really pick one. But agentic AI probably more in the near term, and Edge AI maybe a little more mid-term, if I say so.
Okay. I can't help ask one last question. So if AI could take over one daily task for you, what would it be?
Okay, that's a tough question because there are a lot of mundane things that we do. But yeah, I know at least on the work front, I have seen it is adding to our productivity in my emails, in my research day to day. It has already helped a lot. I think we all use some of the chatbots, whether it is ChatGPT or Perplexity or whatsoever. And within the organization also, we have been given, we have made these platforms available to the larger organization. So we've got Microsoft Copilot, which is helping us locate our documents, summarize the meetings, the 1 hour call, which if when in the past we used to miss, we wouldn't know what really got discussed happened, but now you have the summary available even if you're not joining the calls. So I think it is already helping us a lot, but yeah, there is a lot more to come, I would say, Gayatri. In day to day, the technology will help us and making us all more productive as we go forward.
Okay. Yeah, thank you, Sandeep, for those insights. It was an interesting conversation. To summarize, my takeaways from the session, right? I think AI or organizations win when they are solving problems, right? It is not just about writing code or solving coding challenges. It is about solving the business problems. And of course, to scale, you need um, you need trusted data, you need a strategy, and the domain expertise, right? Without domain expertise, AI is just, I mean, it's just code. And of course, there is the you have future is all about human insight powered by AI, I would say. Those are my three takeaways from today's session. And thank you to our audience for joining us today. Thank you for your time. And please visit www.zerozeta.com for our upcoming webinars. Thank you all.
All right. Thanks, Gayatri. Thanks for having me. And it was nice talking to you. And hopefully the audience also got you key takeaways. But I'm available if there is any questions for me. You may share my email with the audience to reach back to me.
Sure. Thank you, Sandeep.
Thank you. Thanks all.